Okay, hello again. So nice that you're still there. Hope you got a coffee, and we're happy to have you here. So for our last presentation and also the last intellectual output from our badge project, Becoming a Digital Global Engineer, is IO8 about EMI, which is really important, I think, for everybody. So as I told before, all the material will be online, available for free in also amendable version, latest beginning of September, because the project finishes in August, so we're still a bit working on the layout, etc. But latest beginning of September for the new academic year. You will have all the material on the website, which is also in the program. You can find it there. It's the badge project in oneword.eu. So you can go there and grab all the material, change languages, change the material. Just you have to give credit to the authors, and of course you can't sell it, but you can have it, of course, for free. So, but now, Gosha, so you're presenting EMI today, so the floor is yours.
Okay, Katya, thank you very much. And thank you also, Yuta, for organizing this event. Sorry for not having the presentation mode. However, I'm not working on my PC, so I don't know why, but I have some problems with Zoom and this presentation mode, so I will present it that way. So yes, on behalf of my dearest colleagues from Poznan University of Technology and Universidad Politécnica de Valencia, I will present to you our EMI for academic teachers and administrative staff guide. So very briefly, I'll try to give you some bits and pieces of information about the project as such, Intellectual Output 8, and in a nutshell, what do the guides for academic teachers and administrative staff look like. So when it comes to the badge project, you have already met our coordinator, Katya, and for us as PUT, this project was really huge challenge. First of all, because of the partners, 11 universities, and then within our teams, also a cooperation with companies, more than one partner. And the cooperation took us like 3 years. So during the pandemic, so from time to time, it was really difficult to stay tuned, to get motivated, and to concentrate on our goals. So yes, the project started in 2019. However, let's say our collaboration started much earlier, and I think that's the reason why we could manage that so long, and well, whether we won it successfully. So you have also already heard and watched the presentations of the other IOs. So right now, the last but not the least, IO8, which is English Medium Instruction for academic teachers and administrative staff. As I said, at that point, we cooperated with Universidad Politécnica de Valencia. So here it was Christina's contribution, and from the PUT, Poznan University of Technology, it was Liliana, Kasia, and me. When it comes to this intellectual output guide, intellectual 8 and the guide for academic teachers, it consists of several chapters. So they are presented right here. I will talk about them a little bit in detail later on. So generally, the idea why we let's say came up with the idea to have such a guide. Well, definitely because there are more and more courses delivered at different faculties, and the courses and the studies delivered in English. And it turned out that actually teachers who are sometimes highly specialized in their let's say engineering field, it turned out that they had some difficulties in delivering the content, highly specialized content, to the teachers in English. And so we decided to help them with that. And first of all, we tried to give them some more information on EMI and what it actually is. provide also some best practice guidelines for the faculties and also for the deans, for the authorities of a given faculty to make them realize that also the selection of the teacher to deliver the specialized content in English cannot be made like at random, right? They need to be aware of some specific skills that such teachers need to have. So we've also presented some objectives of teaching through EMI. We also try to show the students' perspective, which turned out to be really interesting to us because sometimes let's say if the selection of the teacher is not the best one, then students actually they know what they want, so they can even write a formal letter to the dean saying, please change the teacher because okay, the teacher is a specialist, but the command of English is really poor. Or quite on the contrary, the language competence is extremely high. However, the teacher has no ability to deliver the knowledge and the content in English, even though high language competence. We also try to point out some language differences, diversities, provide with some best practice pedagogy, quality assurance, collaboration, and assessment in EMI context. The further chapters concentrate more on, let's say, soft skills like the presentation skills for such content teachers, both presentation skills that you can use in a classroom when you have like live audience sitting in front of you, and also due to pandemic online presentations, cultural communication, international groups, which is also crucial. And we also gave the students some tips on how to, let's say, construct the scenarios for the content that they are to deliver, plus of course glossary terms and bibliography. So when it comes to this intellectual output, then the first question is how actually you can use this academic this guide for academic teachers. Well, it will have the final form of the guide is the PDF format, and it was supposed to be like a real guide with the tips, with the points. So actually, depending on your needs and on the teacher's needs, you can read it just like every single book from the very beginning till the very end, or you can simply pick up specific chapters that are interesting to you, or the chapters you think that the content of which will help you to develop and elaborate more on the skills you already have as a content teacher. Next question, who should read this guide for academic teachers? Well, definitely the content teachers, the academic teachers who deliver their classes in English. But as I said, also the faculty authorities, so that they were more aware of, let's say, the choice that they need to make while selecting the teachers to deliver courses in English. And the question, could an academic teacher implement the ideas from the guide? Of course, yes. Moreover, you can adapt it to your own needs. The guide contains both the theory that is behind EMI, but also, let's say, really short practical tips plus lesson scenarios. And the goal of the lesson scenario was to provide the teacher with some sort of a framework. And then actually this framework can be completed with, let's say, the content that they want. The question, why is quality assurance important in EMI courses? Well, definitely it helps to compete on the international stage, both for the teacher and for the university as such. The courses in the study in English are getting more and more popular at PUT. So that's definitely the huge advantage that helps the university to attract the attention of foreign students from all around the world. Of course, if the students from all around the world come, they have different native languages. So this English helps to standardize the language of communication, and of course, it is a huge support to academic teachers. And so, what can Universitat Politecnica de Valencia and Poznań University of Technology offer to ensure this quality? Well, definitely, we have the idea of creating some sort of quality framework that will include the most important information, why languages teaching in a foreign language is important, and why actually universities, no matter whether they are technical, medical, etc., should actually include the language aspect and the language policy in the university policy as such. We also have elaborated on a set of best practice guidelines for the teachers. We, as in this case, as a Center of Languages and Communication at PUT, you're trying to support our academic teachers with proper training and proper workshops. So Badge is not the only project that, let's say, develops this EMI. And of course, experience of language teachers. And so our experience in terms of methodology that can be, let's say, given to other academic teachers, and especially those content academic teachers. When it comes to the guidelines and the guide as such, the very first, let's say, points, the very first and the second chapter, they concentrate on EMI, the definition of EMI, the objectives of teaching through EMI. As I have already mentioned, students' perspective to make the teachers aware, let's say, of what students think of learning in English and this sort of classes. It also concentrates on language diversity. What else? We've come up with some best practice pedagogy, quality assurance, collaboration, and assessment. So what to consider, how to actually assess students when it comes to classes conducted via EMI. The following chapter, that is chapter 3, concentrates more on soft skills, which are presentation skills. So here you just have the examples of some tips that are included in the guide. Those tips actually are on online presentations. And the question why we decided on that, well, first of all, it turned out that sometimes the teachers who have highly specialized knowledge, they don't know how to share this knowledge with the students effectively. So when you have the presentation skills, it's just like if we could compare it to the situation when you have a present, so, which is your content, your knowledge, and you are going to a birthday party and you need to pack this present nicely. So you have two options. You can pack it in a really nice box with a ribbon, which is like your presentation skills. That are effective, and you can be sure that the knowledge, the experience, the know-how you want to deliver and convey to the students will be actually perceived as a really nicely prepared work, and the students will get from this lesson as much as they can. Or the other option is just to put it in a gray paper and give it like that. So of course, it's up to you which option you want to follow. However, those presentation skills are really important, both in the real on-site lessons class, in the real classroom when you see the students in front of you, but also as pandemic show in online mode, so to say. Chapter 4 concentrates on intercultural communication, especially in international groups. So here we decided to start with Hofstede culture dimensions, just to make teachers aware that sometimes whatever happens during their classrooms is not the result of some sort of mean behavior, but maybe the result of some cultural differences, because each student was brought up in an absolutely different cultural environment. But let's say the Hofstede's dimensions are, let's say, not the only aspect that deals with this intercultural communication. So we've also decided to add Edward Hall's ideas of different distance. And again, the pandemic showed that actually the only proper distance was 1.5 meters. However, well, it's good to be aware why some students, let's say, approach you much closer, and why some prefer to stay at the distance, that it's not the result of some sort of personal issues, but simply culture. And also Gestalt, which provides, let's say, with the idea of culture in a more business-like environment. So we thought that actually those 3 different aspects dealing with intercultural communication may be also helpful to teachers to manage the classroom consisting of international students. The subsequent subchapters deal with EMI scenarios. So as I said, these are just like the examples of how you can deliver highly specialized content in a methodological way to deliver this knowledge in an effective way, and simply to make it interesting to the students, not to make the classes look like a lecture, but how to make it, let's say, interactive and simply interesting for both the teacher and the students. And let's say the second part of this intellectual output is also the guide for administrative staff, which turned out to be also extremely helpful and extremely important, because actually these are the ladies working in these offices that are in, let's say, direct contact with international students. So they need to know how to use English for this specific purpose. So of course, some chapters are the same, like what is this EMI in general, and again, intercultural communication, and the three, let's say, persons, Hall and Gestaland. Also EMI scenarios, however, this time, EMI scenarios, let's say, adjusted to the scenarios that may take place at the dean's office when the student comes, has a problem, and how to deal with him, right? Bearing in mind that his command of English may not be that good, and also the lady that's working in the dean's office, should know English, but let's say may have some problems with the student. So this scenario is like, hello, can I help you? Yes, please. What's the problem? I did not manage to take all my exams because I was sick. I have my doctor's note with me. The exam session is over tomorrow. What can I do? Okay, well, you need to write a formal letter to our dean asking for an extension of the exam session. Here's the form. Please fill it in with your date and sign it. Okay, thank you. So let's say these are very basic but really typical situations that may place in the dean's office. And it, let's say, provides the people working in this office with some specific, let's say, again, framework and some expressions, vocabulary that they can use so that they could feel more confident when it comes to the contact with the foreign student. Because let's say language aspect is one thing, but then again, there come also culture differences. Another example of this scenario, hello, can I help you? Yes, I've just arrived and I have a room in this dorm. Okay, what's your name, please? Johan Kreutz, right? Yes, you're on the list. Before I give you the keys, please complete this form. It's in English, okay? Thank you, and so on and so forth. So again, the question, how this guide for administrative staff can be used? Well, just like similarly to the guide for academic teachers, right? You can read it just like a whole complete document, or simply I guess my colleague has not muted you. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so you can read the guide as the whole book from the beginning to the very end, or just pick up the chapters that you are interested in, like those scenarios, for example. And who should read it? Well, definitely this is prepared for the staff working with students in different kinds of offices, like dean's offices, or also international relations offices, and so on and so forth. And also the people working at dorms, at the reception desk, for example. And of course, you can adapt this guide to your own needs, right? So it has just a little bit theory on EMI, but then a lot on, let's say, practical issues. And so we think that those two EMI guides, both for academic teachers and administrative staff, are just the beginning, right, of any sort of future collaboration. We are aware that EMI is getting more and more popular at not only universities in Poland, but universities in Europe in general. For sure, we can see some potential in staff exchange and in exchanging the know-how, the best practices. Different universities, sometimes they have already developed their own EMI guidelines, but sometimes actually they are at the very initial stage and they simply don't know into which direction to go. What else? Definitely, there is a huge potential for us as a language center to provide trainings for content academic teachers. We as language teachers know a lot when it comes to the methodology of the classes, and content teachers, they are specialists, but sometimes they really lack those methodological issues. What else? I guess that such a collaboration with different universities may also help to, let's say, develop the standards, both for trainings and the standards of for EMI. And let's say the EMI certificate, which is like, I would say, the future, right? That would give, that would be some sort of help also for the deans when they decide to which teacher to select for delivering classes in English. If the teacher has the EMI certificate, then the dean may be sure that, okay, the classes, the lectures will be delivered professionally at the highest possible level. And for example, if a given teacher would like to, let's say, develop more and start delivering classes in English, then after taking part in the workshops or some training sessions, when at the end is given this EMI certificate, again, can be also sure that has the proper knowledge to do it in a professional way. So, as I said, on behalf of my dearest colleagues, Yana, Kasia, me, and Christina, I would like to thank you very much. And if you have any questions, then please do not hesitate to ask. I will try to do my best to answer them.
Okay, thank you very much for this very interesting presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. We have a comment from Olga. Hello, Olga, nice to have you with us. We met you in Poznan, I think. So we hope that this can help for you and for any other colleague who wants to use these different resources. It's not on the website yet, but it will be soon, of course. Huh? So Ivana just posted the website where all the resources will be shown. Maybe I can just show you the website, and so you can see how it will look like. Just a second. But then we go back to the questions, if there are questions, of course. Sorry, just making a little interruption. So this is the website, thebadgeproject.com. And here you have the multiplier events and also the annual conferences we had. You have all the recorded presentations. You will also have the recorded presentations from today. And then you have under resources, you have the different IOs. Okay, we changed the layout a bit so you can see all the IOs when opening the page. And then in the IOs, so here we were, for example, in IO8. So if you open this, you have the description, and then you will have the resources here, which you can then download. So this will be the case latest 1st of September, but maybe also before. Okay, I'll just stop the recording now. And if there's any question, please feel free to ask your questions.